Here is an uncomfortable truth. You can use AI every single day, all day long, and still get the basics completely wrong. Not the hard stuff, the basics. So I built an 18 question AI literacy exam and I designed it so that on almost every question, the obvious answer is the wrong one. It starts easy enough that anyone can play, and it ends deep enough to separate the tourists from the real architects. Here is the deal: keep a running score in your head, 1 point for every answer you get right. At the end, that number tells you exactly where you stand. And honestly, most daily AI users land lower than they expect. Grab a pen if you want. Let's find out how well you actually understand the tool you already trust with your work. Tier 1: the foundations. 6 questions that sound obvious and trip up almost everybody. Remember the rule: the obvious answer is usually a trap. Question 1: when an AI confidently makes something up, a fake fact, a fake quote, is that a malfunction? Is it a bug? Take a second. No, and this is the single most important thing to understand. A language model never looks facts up. It only predicts the next most likely piece of text. So a smooth, confident, totally invented answer is not a glitch, it is the machine working exactly as designed. The lesson you can use today: confidence is not evidence. Verify anything that actually matters. Question 2: does ChatGPT learn from your conversations in real time, quietly getting smarter about you as you chat? No, the model itself is frozen the day its training ends. Inside a single chat, it can use what you just said. But the moment you open a fresh conversation, that knowledge is gone, unless a separate memory feature deliberately saved it. So if you want good output, never assume it remembers. Give it the full context every time. Question 3: a token. The thing you get billed and rate limited on. Is it the same as a word? No. A token is a chunk of text, often about 3/4 of a word, sometimes just a few characters. A single long word can be several tokens. Why care? Because your limits and your bill are counted in tokens, not words. Tight, clear prompts literally cost you less money. Question 4: between two AI models, is the one with more parameters the bigger one, always the smarter one? No, size is one factor, not the whole story. A smaller model, trained on better data and tuned well for a task, routinely beats a bigger, clumsier one. The takeaway: stop chasing the biggest model. Pick the one that is actually best at your specific job and test it yourself. Question 5: when you ask an AI for a source and it hands you a real looking citation, where did that citation come from? Unless it is actively searching the web, it invented that citation the exact same way it writes everything else, by predicting plausible text. Real looking author, real looking journal, completely fake paper. So never trust a citation you cannot click open and read yourself. Question 6, the last of the easy tier. What improves an answer more? Writing a much longer prompt or giving the model one good example of what you want? The example. Almost every time. Showing beats telling. One clear example of the format and quality you want will outperform 3 paragraphs of instructions. This single habit, giving it an example, will instantly upgrade your results starting today. Tier 2, practitioner level. This is where the casual users start bleeding points. Keep counting and be honest. Question 7. There is a setting called temperature. Does it control how accurate or how intelligent the answer is? No, temperature controls randomness, nothing else. Turn it low and the model plays it safe and predictable. Turn it high and it gets more varied and creative. and more likely to go off the rails. Use low for facts and code, higher for brainstorming. It is a creativity dial, not an intelligence dial. Question 8. RAG. Retrieval Augmented Generation. What does it actually do? It fetches your relevant documents and drops them into the model's context right before it answers. So it responds from your data instead of its frozen memory. That is how you build an AI that knows your own company's files. And no, it is not the same as fine tuning, which happens to be our next question. Question 9. If you want a model to reliably know new facts, like your private company knowledge, is fine tuning the right tool for that? Mostly no. This is the expensive mistake teams make over and over. Fine tuning is fantastic at teaching a model a style, a format, a behavior. But for facts that have to be correct, retrieval, actually feeding it the documents, is far more reliable. So remember it this way: style, fine tune; facts, retrieve. All right? Pause for a second. You are exactly halfway through, so consider this your save point. Quick gut check. Are you keeping score honestly? Here is the deal I will make with you. If this exam is teaching you something real, then that one tap, the subscribe button, is how you save your progress. I do the slow, boring work. I test every big AI release all the way through, and I hand it back to you as a straight, honest answer. Subscribing is free, it takes 1 second, and it is the single biggest thing that keeps these coming. Do it now, and let's go unlock the hard half. Question 10. The context window. What is the best way to actually picture it? It is the model's short term working memory for one conversation, a lot like the RAM in a computer. Everything shares that one space: your prompt, its replies, any documents you paste in. Fill it up, and the oldest material quietly falls out the back. It is not permanent storage, and it forgets completely the moment you start a new chat. Question 11. You paste the exact same prompt twice, and you get two different answers. Is something broken? No, that is by design. The model is probabilistic. At every step, it is rolling weighted dice over the possible next words. So identical input can branch into different output. If you need the same answer every single time, turn the temperature down to 0. Otherwise, use it. Run a good prompt twice and simply keep the better result. Question 12. The last of the practitioner tier. A model scores a perfect 100% on a famous AI benchmark. What does that actually prove? Often, a lot less than you would hope. The most common reason for a suspiciously perfect score is contamination. The test questions leaked into the training data, so the model had already seen the answers. A benchmark is a hint, not a proof. Real world testing on your own task is the only score that truly counts. Tier 3. Architect level. This is the deep end. Agents and how modern AI really works under the hood. Almost nobody clears this entire tier. Let's find out if you are in the top few percent. Question 13. What actually makes something an AI agent instead of just a chatbot? A chatbot gives you one reply and then it stops. An agent runs in a loop. It takes an action, uses a tool, looks at the result, and decides its next move over and over until the goal is met. The magic word is loop. Acting, checking, and adjusting on its own is exactly what turns a chatbot into an agent. Question 14. You have seen the term MCP everywhere. What problem does it actually solve? MCP, the Model Context Protocol, is an open standard for plugging tools and data into an AI model. Think of it as a USB port for AI. Instead of custom wiring for every single app, any compatible tool just plugs straight in. It is how you give a model real hands: your calendar, your database, your files. Question 15. When you let an agent use tools on its own, what is the single biggest danger? That it takes a real, irreversible action based on wrong reasoning, deleting the wrong files, sending the wrong email, spending real money. A chatbot's mistake is just words on a screen. An agent's mistake happens out in the real world. That is precisely why approval steps, a human in the loop, matter so much. Question 16. Here is a security one. What is prompt injection? It is when hidden instructions buried inside content the AI reads, a web page, a document, an email, hijack it, and make it obey the attacker instead of you. The model often can't tell your instructions apart from text it is merely reading. It is the number one security risk in AI agents. So never let one act on untrusted content unchecked. Question 17. Why not just give an agent a giant 1 million token context and dump absolutely everything into it? 3 reasons. It costs more, it runs slower, and here is the surprising one. Models actually get worse at finding a fact when it is buried in the middle of a huge context. Researchers literally call it lost in the middle. More context is not better context. Feeding it the right, relevant information beats feeding it everything. Final question, number 18. What does it mean to ground a model? Grounding means tying the model's answer to real, verifiable sources, actual documents, live data, so its claims can be checked instead of just sounding right. An ungrounded model gives you confident fiction. A grounded one gives you an answer with receipts. If you take one single idea from this whole exam, make it this one. Always ground the answers that matter. Okay? Moment of truth. Add up your points, one for every answer you got right out of 18. If you scored 0 to 6, you are an AI tourist. You use it, but the machine is still a black box, and that is quietly costing you. 7 to 12, you are an operator. You genuinely know your way around, better than most working professionals alive today. And 13 or higher, you are an architect. You don't just use AI, you understand how to build with it, and that is a rare and very valuable place to stand. Wherever you landed, be honest, because that number is simply your starting line. Now, wherever you scored, let's actually close the gaps. So I turned this entire exam into a free one-page cheat sheet. All 18 questions, the correct answers, and the plain English why behind each one. So it finally sticks for good. To grab it, just comment the word quiz on this video and I will send it straight to you, or take the link in the description. It is completely free. If you want to go further, my beginner guides for Claude Code, Codex, and Claude for Work are down there too. And here is my ask. On YouTube, hit subscribe or become a member. On Facebook, tap subscriber. And follow along on Instagram where I post these builds. Then send this exam to one person who is completely sure they already know AI. Let's see if they can beat your score.